up late. But everything's good. I don't think I've been on live on TikTok at least since the night of the big ban. Then it was gone for a while, so I wasn't able to go live. Just launched live on YouTube as well. And haven't been live on YouTube in a while either. I think the last time I went live on YouTube was when we were trying to get to 100,000 follower mark, and I was promising to do a shot. Hey, Frankie, I was promising to do a shot of Everclear if we went to 100,000 followers during my live, which thankfully we did not. Thank you, Sherry. Appreciate the birthday love. Thank you so much. Belated birthday. No belated, Ronaldo. It is today. It's not midnight yet, right? So still my birthday. Not like kids today. Kids today, maybe is it just the kids? Because I got to tell you, the Gen Z that I work with, they go off on birthdays. It's their birthday week. Some of them go far as birthday month. Listen, growing up, we were lucky to get a day. No way could we stretch it out for a week. I don't think I'd want to. Angela, how are you? Thank you. Thank you, Marie. Thank you, Misty. Cindy, thank you so much, my friend. To a birthday party, oddly enough. All right, Michelle, I'll talk to you tomorrow, honey. Take care. Thank you. Thank you, Barb. Gen X here from New Zealand. A lot of New Zealand Gen Xers, both on YouTube and on Facebook, actually, I've noticed. And TikTok, too. Thank you, Crystal. Appreciate it. What's going on, life? How you doing, buddy? Christy, Colin. Yeah, double nickels today. Big 5'5", 55 years old. And I gotta be honest. Last night, around 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, I was up late, couldn't sleep, and had realized that, we moved into the next day. So I was officially, legally 55 years old after midnight last night. And my wife had gone to bed and the kids had gone to bed. And I just couldn't sleep. And it didn't get to me in the sense that I feel old. I don't feel old, but I was putting together a carousel for Instagram, because you can put 5 or 6 photos, 10 photos together on Instagram. So I put together about 18, 19 photos through the years. So I did one of me at like 1 and 2 and 4 and 6 and 8 and 12, all the way up to today. And it was amazing. Some of the pictures I don't have any recollection of being in, but most of them I do. But it was just crazy because us Gen Xers, we age in such a weird way. At 4 and 5 and 6, I looked completely age appropriate. 13, completely age appropriate. I hit 15, and it's like someone ignited the Mediterranean gene, the Greek gene in me. I started, what's going on, Shafquat? I got the facial hair and the mustache. 15, 16, 17, 18, I looked all of 35. And then, it's kind of leveled off. It's just weird. It's so weird looking back on, yeah, Marianne, just coming on for a little bit on my birthday. A couple people messaged me and asked if I would jump on, so I told them I would. It's just crazy looking back on 55 years of pictures. And then 55 years of memories. And 55 years of the events that we lived through. I mean, it's what I do for a living is to live in the nostalgia, but on a micro level instead of a macro level, my own life, it just hit me hard last night. Not in a bad way. If you ever came into my restaurant, I would spit in your food. Okay, chillin'. Well, guess what, bud? Not coming into your restaurant. Let's see. If you ever come into a bar that I'm working at, I'll spit in your drink. Call us even. 50 hit you hard. 50 didn't hit me hard. 55 hasn't really hit me hard, except to say that I was doing a video where I got this. Okay, so a friend of mine, Kryptonite Creations LLC, got this as a gift.
Fallen Apprentice magenta.
I don't like magenta.
Steady. Standard mode.
There we go. So I got this as a gift, early birthday present, from my buddy over at Kryptonite Creations, and I love it. It is so cool. But I did a video with it talking about how recently we just celebrated the 25th anniversary of celebrating 20 years of Star Wars. So basically, it's a funny way of saying that Star Wars was 45 years ago. And I remember when Star Wars celebrated the 20th anniversary. And I remember thinking back and being like, "Holy moly! It's been 20 years since Star Wars." On that day when they relaunched Star Wars for the celebration, I remember 20 years feeling like a really long time. I'm like, that was a long time ago, and it felt like all of 20 years. The 25 years since then, like that, if I'm making any sense. I'm just upset at how fast the last 25 years have gone. Fruit. I actually just had dinner with my family. We just cut cake. We did a celebration. They're planning something else down there, so they asked me to get lost for about an hour. That's why I'm up here. Um, I just don't want the next 25 years to go this fast. That's all. And I know they kind of will. But I'm not, so it's not that 55 is bothering me. It's that I'm not ready to be 75, if that makes any sense. I don't want the next 20 years to fly by. Older you get, the faster it goes by. I'm hoping it slows down. Kristen, if that's why they've kicked me up here, I will not be pleased. I don't do well with surprise parties. I think they're setting up some videotape. Some we got a VHS player down there. I think we're gonna watch home movies on VHS. Johnny says I'm a cemetery caretaker. Nobody makes it out alive. That's fact. Thank you, ML. Janelle, thank you for the gifts over on TikTok. Kind of appropriate tonight, I guess. Life says we're all downstairs. I got my Gen X t-shirt. I love it. Raised on hose water and neglect. I like this one. This one I thought I had made up. It's a saying that I created, but I love it. Generation X, as young as we've ever been and as old as we're going to get. We say it all the time. We were 30 at 15 and 15 at 30. It's whatever we need to be whenever we need to be it. And it just hit. This kind of made a lot of sense for me. This is that whole X years old thing. We're at whatever age is appropriate in the moment. If we need to be adults, if we need to do the adult thing, then we've been able to do that since 12. But if we're at a time when we can show that immaturity and have fun, then so be it. That works too. Dude, I really appreciate that, Life. That's awesome. That's the best thing I can see. Life on Wheels just basically said that, he found his Gen X family in here. And that's what it feels like to a lot of people. And y'all get to know each other in the comments, especially my YouTube community. You guys know each other. That's cool as hell. Again, on TikTok, guys, thank you for the gifts. Appreciate it. If I missed anybody on YouTube, I apologize. It's a little glitchy, but thank you nonetheless. I do the adult thing when I realize I break bones at the age of 53. Fellow Gen X and fellow Aquarius, now I know I drive so much through videos. Well, happy birthday back to you then, Tash. You must have a birthday coming up or just had. I just love that we're able to put all of the shit aside that no other generation seems to be able to. Every other generation, from my perspective, seems to be locked into wherever they are politically. They are locked in. They are zeroed in. They are canceling people in their lives. They are uninviting people to Thanksgiving dinner. They are just done with people. And I think Gen X is more, a lot of us at least, this community at least, is saying, you know what, let's not talk about it. There's a really good chance I might disagree with you. There's a really good chance you might piss me off. Let's agree that, you know what, we're going to leave that somewhere over there. And we're just going to create this community where we remember when things were different and just have a good time and just not worry about it for right now. And I think that's amazing. Happy birthday, Cindy Buckler, coming up on the 16th, my fellow Aquarius. 17th of the month, Tash, happy birthday. JTR, the serial killer in the house, CEREAL killer. I'll be 57, 100% love being Gen X. Well, Janelle, the other thing we say is if the price that we have to pay for growing up in the 70s and 80s and 90s is to be old today, then we pay it. Because, given all things being equal, if you're fortunate, you'll get old. At some point, kids today will get old, but they'll get old without the memories that we have. They grew up in a different time, and objectively, non-objectively, biasedly, I think we're luckier. Tori Dotson is in the house looking for a shout out. How are you? Barbara, hello. Thank you so much. Thank you, JTR, for the birthday wishes. 50th back in October. I love our generation. Yeah, I mean, we're going to get old, but not everyone's going to be young when we were. And I think there was something really special about, boomers, great childhood. They grew up in the 50s and the 60s and the early 70s. And they grew up in this completely analog, pre-technology stuff. And it was awesome. And that's nice. We got to enjoy a piece of that. Millennials, great childhood. They got to see technology really take off in their formative years. Great. We got to enjoy a piece of that too. We're the generation that got to pull from both of those things. And that's what I think is awesome. David coming in, 1979, baby. Misty, a boomer in the house. Cursive will be our secret language in the future. Both my daughters learned it in school, so I think that's regional. And even regional, the thing is, my daughters learned cursive, but there's what they're not doing. Even when they learn cursive, kids don't write today. I look like RFK Jr. Okay. Listen, I wouldn't mind looking like him if I took my shirt off. The guy is shredded. All other things amazing. Politics aside, the dude is jacked for his age. I'll give him that. Our kids learned cursive, but neither of them write on a regular basis. And that's the difference. We wrote in order to pass notes in school. We wrote in order to take notes in school. At least I don't sound like RFK Jr. We wrote a lot, right? It was our preferred method. And to this day, I don't know about you guys, but if I'm taking notes, I'm still old school in my notes. They're a mess, but I prefer pen and paper when it comes to my notes. And I still use a hybrid of cursive when I write. Some of my letters are in cursive, some of my letters are in print, so it's kind of both. But it's insane that we still write a lot, I think. I still write a lot anyway. But kids today, even if they learn cursive, they don't write. No, they really don't write anymore, Brad. They're going to use their phones or their tablets or their computer. Kids in my middle schooler, they have a laptop that's assigned to them at birth. They have a laptop assigned to them in elementary school, and all their work is done on the laptop. So they learn how to type very early, but they don't write. Pen and paper. My daughter has the same pencils in her pencil box from the beginning of the year. Very little writing done. I see IP Freely was just timed out by Kristen. Got to give points on the name. That's got Gen X written all over it. Anita, what was the other one? Anita Amanda Hug and Kiss. I have so many notebooks of scribbles in my own language. I just missed Boomers 1965, a lot of close friends. So, yeah, that's kind of a Jen Jones thing. If you're ever wondering, if you feel lost in your generation and you're the older side of Gen X or the younger side of baby boomers, you're like, neither feels exactly right. Pieces of both feel right. Look up the term Generation Jones. It probably will resonate with you. Hired a guy that was around 19, didn't know how to sign his name for his W-4. You have Prince Albert in a can. Somebody better let him out. Someone decided to change cursive into something in Splur, which is impossible to write. They try to teach. I never heard of that. Do I like Billie Eilish? My daughter's, one of my daughters plays some of her music. I think it's okay. She's talented, maybe not my genre, but there's no denying that she's talented. Hi, Ardent. Thank you for the greetings from Newfoundland. Have to teach your youth to write. I'm 67, born Gen Xer. Again, they know. What was the generation I said? Generation Jones. It talks about growing up in the time when suburbia started taking off, when everyone was trying to keep up with the Joneses, where the guys were doing, and that's why it's Generation Jones. Thank you for the follow over on TikTok. Those that just followed, thank you so much. Billie Eilish, the only new artist I do like. There's Gizmo in the car. Yeah, I got little Giz right up. Well, I thought he was up there. Yeah, way up there. NC, thank you for the gifts over on TikTok. Appreciate it. 80s toys were gross and great. Going through Garbage Pail Kids today. I've got a couple of unopened ones from literally going back to 1986. Um, this one is fifth series, and this one is the third series, I think. Third series. Never opened them. Gifts from my buddy Matt. My best friend gave these to me. Literally from 1986. Gum is still in there, never opened. How old were you when you saw the movie Porky's? Young. Probably. What year did Porky's come out? Somebody can. Hey, Alexa, our computer. What year did Porky's come out? 1982. So I was 11 or 12. And I saw it in the theater. That's it. Exactly. Life, same age. So yeah, I was 11 or 12. Oh, Pebble, thank you so much for subscribing over on YouTube. Appreciate you. Have I heard the song Ram Ranch? I have not. Thank you again for the gifts, guys. I appreciate it so much. Usually I make a joke like with all these gifts, I feel like it's my birthday, but it actually is my birthday. So thank you. Seeing Porky's at the drive-in. We had a theater, and so I grew up in a small town, upstate New York, Western New York. I went to school at University of Buffalo, lived in Buffalo for a long time. I lived in Rochester. Shay, thank you so much for the happy birthday wishes. Appreciate it. Kimberly, thank you for the birthday wishes. Jay, thank you. 225 Liz, thank you. Appreciate you guys. Michael, thank you. Grew up in a really small town right on Lake Ontario, and we had a small theater there. And the weekends were all about our theater. Like that was the thing to do when we got to middle school. Mom and dad would drop you off at the theater on Friday, Saturday, and or Sunday night. One movie played every weekend, and that was it. It was a single screen. Thank you, DJ, for the birthday wishes. So whatever was playing, we watched it. And sometimes you'd go with one group of friends on Friday and another group of friends on Saturday and see the same movie. And I remember that's where I saw Porky's. And nobody was checking, IDs at the door. No one was questioning why you were 12 and seeing a rated R movie. No, they didn't. They assumed our parents knew where we were, didn't care, didn't know where we were, and didn't care, or just didn't care. But either way, they took our $2 and let us in. I saw at the AMC in Buffalo, New York. I worked next to an AMC on Maple Ave in Buffalo for years. Amherst, technically, I guess. I've been sub. Love the shorts. Keep them coming. You got it, Rum Runner. I appreciate it. Thank you. Have a wonderful night, Joshua. Thank you as well. God bless. Saw morning movies at the drive-in. I didn't see a lot of movies at the drive-in. The drive-in movies for me were a very specific kind of movie. Hey, Sam, what's up? Todd, thank you. The movies I saw at the drive-in, Stacy High, would have been things like I saw Star Wars for the first time at the drive-in. I saw Superman at the drive-in. And then as we got older, like in college, there were things we would just see over and over at the drive-in. Pink Floyd, The Wall. I probably saw 3 times at the drive-in with 3 different groups of friends. What's the one? Rocky Horror Picture Show for me was a drive-in movie. Saw that a couple times. Raiders of the Lost Ark. That would have been a good one for the drive-in. Took my kids to a lot of drive-in movies. So there's a place in Avon, New York, which is, this is my favorite hat. This one is years and years and years old. A lot of people ask me to get a new one. I've got lots of Bills hats. This is just my favorite. Yeah, there's a place not too far from where I lived in Rochester that still had a drive-in, and we would take my kids there when we lived in Rochester a lot. E.T. Atari game was sad. Kind of put the kibosh on Atari, from what I understand. Hey, Sidoni, how are you? Hey, Janelle. Oh, the drive-in is still there? Nice. Yeah, we'd go quite a bit. It's been 9 years since we lived in Rochester, but my kids loved it. Now, the difference with us at the drive-in, let's see if your memory is the same as mine. We would go with our parents. Parents would load us all in, or we'd go with our friends' parents. And there was always right under the screen the most dilapidated, lead paint peeling, rusted out, built on pavement and gravel mini playground directly underneath where the theater was and where the screen was. And as kids, we could just run up and go play there by ourselves. And for me, playground from hell, dude, it was literally the playground from hell. And if you survived that playground, then you would turn around and look at the sea of cars and only then realize that you have no idea whatsoever where your car is. And then began the hunt to try to find your way back. Same thing would happen, Michelle, coming back from the snack bar. That's what tetanus shots were for. Uh, let's see what else. From Rochester, what year did I graduate? I actually grew up in Wolcott, New York. So I graduated from North Rose Wolcott High School, about 40 minutes east of Rochester. I graduated in 1988. Then I moved to Buffalo, lived in Buffalo and went to UB. Left Buffalo when I got married in 2000. Back to Rochester, lived in Chilai, which is a suburb of Rochester proper, until 2016, and have been living in the Charlotte area ever since. Driving have speaker boxes or radio sound? Both. I remember when I was really young, the speaker boxes, but later on, the radio sound. You can only do your best, Kristen. No worries. They'll pop back in. Drive-in and golf. Let's see. Survival of the fittest. Speaker boxes hooked up to your den. That sounds kind of cool. Buffalo's a cool city. 3 months wasn't enough to check out that city. Listen. Take the New York State's taxes are unlivable. We have twice, 3 times the home that we had in Rochester, and we're paying a third of the taxes. So it was just too much for us. We couldn't enjoy the lifestyle we enjoy down here. And we also hated the weather and lack of sun. It wasn't even just snow. I didn't realize just how depressed I'd get from October until May because there's no sun to speak of. And I apparently I love the sun because down here I just walk around stupid. It was 72 degrees and sunny today. I loved it. And we had a little bit of winter here. Did I ever go to US Skate in Rochester? No. Webster in the house, I would go to Lowe's Webster for movies a lot. In terms of skating, we would go to a place called Finger Lakes Mall in Auburn, New York for skating. Just too cloudy. I can't live without sun. It doesn't even have to be hot. I need to be able to see that big yellow thing in the sky. And upstate New York, all amazing things about it. Thank you, Wirehead. Appreciate the birthday love. Everything else aside, it's just too cloudy. Too much of the year for me. Hey, Mario Roberto Hernandez, got to see you. Good to see you. WTF are you? WTF is this? Supposed to be almost 60 tomorrow in KC. Nice. Yeah, we've been right in the 70s. We're going to drip down into the 50s and 60s again, and then back up into the mid 70s. Now, I will be in Orlando, Florida, February 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th for a couple of different events. I will be in Orlando for MegaCon on Thursday night and Saturday and Sunday, parts of Friday as well. And we will also be in Orlando going through Universal Studios, just kind of checking in the rides, checking the place out, making some content on Friday that week as well. So February 6th through 9th, if you're in the Orlando area, check out MegaCon. If you're going to be at Universal Studios by any chance on that Friday, let me know. Maybe we can hook up for a picture. Thank you so much for the birthday wishes. Thank you so much, guys. Alice, how are you? If you guys see Alice Razoo over on TikTok, that is somebody that knows me since practically birth. Thank you for the birthday wishes, honey. You just made my day. My mom's actually up here visiting. I'll go down and make sure to say hello when I see her down there. She's downstairs. Gen X birthdays are starting to hurt. Not having the birthdays, I think, hurts, Rich. Am I a football player? I played a little bit of soccer, but no, not currently. I will life. Big 50 yet, Brad? I just turned 55 today. Big double nickels. Can't drive 55. Birthday was today, February 1st, 1970. Go Birds. Yeah, exactly. It would run to hurt more not to have birthdays. Initially, anyway. Then it probably wouldn't hurt, but you know. Sidoni, happy birthday tomorrow. I love your audience takes the time to greet each other. It's like I said, especially YouTube, and maybe more because I go live more on YouTube on a regular schedule. But my YouTube community, especially my live community, they know one another. Tuesday nights, for a while, it's kind of fallen off because we don't do it as much. I would bring my followers to work with me and just do like a trivia day where they just treat the room as a chat room, and they really got to know each other that way. Did my mom make baklava for me? No, they actually bought me a cake this year. No baklava for me for my birthday anyway. Although if I asked, my mom would do it. Turned 53 in September, not that far ahead of you. Mountain West, thank you for joining. Guys, thank you for the gifts. I cannot tell you. I appreciate it so much. Baby Gen Xer, Stone's going to be 45 tomorrow. Again, happy birthday. Favorite Greek food? For me, it's just food. But my wife makes my wife's a great cook. Got to work out a lot to keep it off. So anything she cooks, I'm happy with. As far as Greek like junk food, as far as Greek like fast food, I love gyro, I love souvlaki, all that stuff. As far as desserts, kadaifi, baklava, lukumades, I will, Angela. I'll ask my mom to make you some baklava. Kip Drippers. Never really watched lives, but I find myself not wanting to miss John. Sherry, I appreciate that. Thank you. It's not my live. I mean, I try to. Souvlaki is lamb. Souvlaki is just kebabs. So it's basically meat on a kebab. Traditionally, you could have it be meat. You could have it be any kind of meat. It could be pork. It could be chicken. It could be lamb. But to Sherry's point, I love the lives myself because I don't know what I'm going to talk about. You guys kind of dictate the conversation. I read as many of the comments as I can, and we kind of go from there. Tracy says, let's see, rarely miss a live, says Cindy. Thank you again, Cindy. All my 70s and 80s toys. I love your videos. I'm just starting to rebuy some toys now. You'll see some of them behind me. Some have been gifts. Some have been made for me. Wirehead, souvlaki and baklava on your birthday, or a shot or whatever. Wirehead, thank you so much. Wirehead just gifted $10. Canadian, which is like what, $3 American? I mean, it's got to be something. I love you, my friend. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I will definitely buy a shot on you next time I'm in the bar. Have I been to Greece recently? Not recently, Gail. Thinking about going this summer. It really just depends on content creation and what I'm kind of doing at any given time. I have relatives still there. I still have aunts and uncles that are alive. I have a lot of cousins. My wife is Greek. She has relatives there. So we'd like to go and have our children be able to experience that, meet some family, but we will see. Art says our dollar is crawling under a rug to die. Yeah, I heard there's see, again, I don't generally talk politics, but I did realize that tariff took effect today on my birthday, no less. So we'll see how that plays out. Straight, no fluidity here. However, you have deep blue eyes. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate it. I love perfection. Dude, perfection, just hearing that tick, 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 tick of perfection, I don't trigger. All right. I never need a trigger warning. I don't do anxiety much. But that sound comes about as close as any inconsequential thing could do. I see your comment, Jenna, to give me a little bit of anxiety. I hate that. Are both your parents of Greek descent? Both my parents are of Greek descent. Both my in-laws are of Greek descent. My parents immigrated here in 1964. My in-laws immigrated here in 72. So for fun, I did a DNA test and it was boring. No surprises. Like just that whole region near Greece, 100% there. So that was a waste of money. Yeah, it's just I could never get it. Buzz from Operation didn't give me anxiety, Erica, as much as there was a feel to it. They must have used a stronger battery when we played because there was a jolt that came out of it that the double A's that power it now don't do. Their operation back then must have had like 4D batteries in there or something. So I remember the jolt, not so much the anxiety from Operation. Perfection got me. That made me anxious. I was just trying to finish. And you forget that it's about to pop up at you. You stop paying attention until it does. Arden says, I think mine was plugged in. Was it a 9 volt? I don't know. I honestly think it might have been D batteries. But the thing with the 9 volt is how many times we all put it on our tongues. I had kids do that at work. No, Jenna, you're good. I had kids do that at work with a 9 volt, and they didn't know what was going to happen to them. One has a nose ring, and she was going to put it on her nose ring until I stopped her. I think in the UK it was the square battery. Cindy says in the US had massive amount of batteries. I think it did. I was telling my kids that our parents kicked the anxiety out of us. You know, two things that I say and that are incorrect. I say it all the time and I'm just plain wrong. One thing I say is that Gen Xers were afraid of nothing. And that's not true. I see that, Shay Yanis. It's not true. That Chronia Pola. Thank you so much, Shay. Shay just wished me many years for my birthday. It's not that Gen Xers were afraid of nothing. We actually were afraid of a lot of things. I remember being petrified of things like the child catcher from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. I remember being afraid of the witch from The Wizard of Oz. I remember being afraid of the cobra from Rikki Tikki Tavi. I remember being afraid that Charles Manson was going to get out of prison and for some reason I can't quite fathom, single me out for his next victim. I was afraid of whoever got away from America's Most Wanted was going to come my way. We were left alone, and often we were left alone when it started getting dark. Like sometimes our parents weren't quite home when it started getting dark, and that was scary as kids. So yes, Adam's kidnapping, exactly. So when I say Gen Xers weren't afraid of anything, I'm wrong. We were afraid, but we learned to function in spite of fear. So when my parents weren't home and it started getting dark, I still sat down and did my homework anyway. I functioned. When I was reading a Stephen King novel, when I was reading Salem's Lot at 11 years old, and I just finished it, and everyone in the house was asleep and silent, and I was petrified, I still closed the book, turned off the light, and went to sleep. So we lived side by side with fear and just learned to function in spite of it. I was afraid when I jumped my bike off the Evel Knievel ramp and nearly broke every bone in my body. I don't know how I survived it. The bike did not. But you know what? As soon as I bought a new bike, I did it again. And I was scared that time too. But we did it even though we were scared. And the second thing I say is that we never get anxiety. Like anxiety is an invention that these kids came up with. And that's not true either. I think a lot of us had anxiety. Actually, somebody paid a ridiculous amount of money to do a study that uncovered the fact that Generation X was exposed to a lot of lead growing up. Yeah, somebody made money with that study when I could have told them for free. Thank you for the birthday wishes, KG Bell. And they said that lead exposure actually leads to an increased amount of anxiety for our generation. But we deal with it. And often and today I know a lot of my friends, followers, people that message me, we talk about it, and they say that they're treated for anxiety, but a lot of us didn't get treated for the anxiety. So we naturally just learned as best we could how to deal with it. How do you not have anxiety? We just got January 28th just passed. We saw the space shuttle blow up as kids in front of our very eyes. That's anxiety causing. We, as kids, truly thought that nuclear annihilation was around the corner. I honestly believed it was only a matter of time until I woke up to the sight of a mushroom cloud, and that would be the last thing I ever saw. That scared me. I remember as a kid that made me anxious. I remember teachers telling my parents that I was an anxious child.
Power off.
So we had anxiety. We just survived it, just let it go. I don't know. Thank you, Michael, for the birthday wishes. Amy says, my anxiety gave me epilepsy. Jenna says her whole childhood was anxiety. Quark, I think, probably put it best. And that makes the most sense for me. We compartmentalize. User 430083464, dude, get a different name. Says the movie The Day After, which I saw as homework. My teacher in, I think, 8th, maybe 7th grade asked us to go home and watch it. That caused anxiety, concern, worry. But we dealt with it. Feared my parents. Dude, Wendy Gen X says I feared my parents. Scared to death of my parents. Truly thought my parents had the ability to end me. My oldest daughter asks sometimes, what were you so afraid of? It's not like they could kill you. I wasn't so sure. Felix says I have a little depression. I think that's normal. It is an emotion. I think some younger people talk about depression, and I understand the difference between clinical depression and regular just depression. But I think sometimes we forget. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to analyze it, but depression of and by itself is still an emotion. I think we all have a little. Gotta go early morning, already after 10 p.m. Happy birthday. Thank you so much, Arden. I appreciate it. Dude, Sidoni, it is what it is a mantra that I used to hate. It just never made sense to me. Do I know Angel Afton? I don't. It is what it is. I just thought it was such a simplistic thing to say, overly simplistic. I'm like, well, of course it is what it is. What, it's going to be what it's not? I deserve a bouncy house and a skate park. But now as I get older, I live and die by it is what it is. And I don't mean that I accept everything as it is. There's things that I fight very hard to change. But to Nate's point, the difference is we dealt with it and not dwell in it. So whatever you can change, fucking change it. And whatever you can't, well, then just put it off to the side until you can. Because I've been on one of your streams. I'm not sure I understand that, Felix. Sorry if I'm not understanding. Sometimes it just be that way. We don't whine. WINE whine sometimes. Like you told whoever, Gen Xer, get a real name, tell them. I was only kidding. Jenna says, everyone tell John happy birthday. Hit those hearts. Dude, thank you. Hey, Record Hound, what's going on? Dude, Record Hound, actually. I just had somebody from Atlantic Records get in touch with me. I'm going to be getting... I like it. I like the new name, Top of Utah. Utah the state or Utah because you like Johnny Utah? You're a big fan of Point Break, the movie. Atlantic Records reached out to me. They're sending me a 6... I guess they're celebrating Hootie and the Blowfish's first LPs that went out in the 90s. And they're sending me 6 of them as part of a set to enjoy and to make some content with. So I thought that was pretty cool. Came right on my birthday, no less. Last weekend was Craig's birthday. Happy birthday, Craig. Yeah, it's not for a penny. I like that life. Yeah, I'm psyched. People diminish Hootie and the Blowfish as being, poppy but I enjoyed it, especially in the 90s. I loved Hootie. I get in trouble on your page when I use the word sissy. I don't know why. I don't have a problem with the word sissy necessarily. Michael, who keeps saying Gaylord, seems to be a big sissy because he thinks that word's going to offend somebody. Thank you, Kristen Kruger. I appreciate you. Blue Rodeo feel. Yeah, I can see that. Gen Xers are problem solvers. Dude, I've never met a group of people. Boomers are problem solvers too. Like my dad could fix anything with anything, but I've never seen a more jury-rigged mess than when my dad hobbled something together to fix it. I think we, and this may be a generalization, are better at utilizing whatever we can find to fix something, but I think we do it better. We incorporate technology into it sometimes. I just think we're better fixers. And then I think young millennials are god-awful at it, and Gen Z doesn't even try. I think we're the MacGyvers. There it is. Kimberly just said it. Your dad MacGyvered stuff. My dad MacGyvered stuff, but wasn't really long-term successful at it. Um, Greeky, happy birthday, handsome. Thank you, Ace. I appreciate it. Yeah, my mom will tell you, my dad was not, there wasn't a long-term fix. Holding the tools for boomers, we learned from their successes. Spent my life thinking it was jerry-rigged. Actually, Dan, I'm not going to get into it, and don't anybody put it in the comments, but we called it something else entirely growing up because we didn't know any better. Duct tape and chicken wire, WD-40. I can do a lot with a paper clip. Bobby, welcome to the honorary Xers. Thank you for subbing. Thank you for joining. Thank you for financially supporting the YouTube page. Thank you so much. That's exactly right, right? Yep, we did something else. There was a lot of that, and it was wrong, you know? And some people say, oh, we get too sensitive today. Listen, if a word or something somebody can say can literally hurt or upset someone, there's no need to be not nice. I get that. I don't have a problem modifying my language. I can use other words. I'm okay with it. But on the other hand, I also think intent means a whole hell of a lot. You can say things without using any defamatory language and have your intent be really bad. And that's bad. Or you can be a comedian whose intent is to make someone just laugh through shock and succeed in really making people happy and really but you use language that could melt paint off a bumper kind of thing, chrome off a bumper. I don't care. That's okay by me. It's not the words that bother me, it's the intent. But that said, I absolutely monitor my language as a result of it. Do I work out? I do, Kayleen. Top 3 movies list. Dude, you would have to so get more specific because it depends on genre with me. There are certain movies that I just love for the sake of loving them. Yeah, hi. Thank you for joining. Like Stand By Me. In any genre, whether you're talking drama or comedy, feel good movie, or Stand By Me, absolutely an amazing movie for me. I see your question, Wirehead. I'll jump to that in a bit. So that one surpasses anything. Back to the Future as a trilogy, absolutely loved it. Third one dropped off a little for me, but that's a movie I enjoy. Stand By Me, I dissect. I look at what was the point of the deer in the woods that Gordy sees just by himself and then never talks about it. Those kinds of things. That's a movie that I could see myself live screening if it wouldn't be a copyright strike and just dissecting the hell out of it. So I like it for that reason. I've seen other movies on here like Space Camp and Spaceballs and John Hughes movies, and somebody said Princess Bride. Those just go to straight, like Princess Bride for me is a favorite movie because of the lines. The fact that I still quote it today. But again, just a different level. Now, Field of Dreams, JC, that's going to go on my Stand By Me lane because I can dissect that one to pieces. You know, what the hell was going on in that movie? And when he says, hey, Dad, want to have a catch? Dude, if that didn't get you, then you are dead inside. That was awesome. So Stand By Me, absolute top 3. Field of Dreams, probably. One movie that people don't talk about that absolutely hit me, and some of you may have seen it, may have not, Pleasantville. Really underrated movie. There's a line in it when he looks at his mom, who was the mother from Malcolm in the Middle. There's a line in it where his mom is just losing it, and she's at her wit's end. She's done. Love Princess Bride, critical, mostly again for the lines. The thing that I love with Pleasantville is she looks at her son and says, I just never thought my life would be like this. And I'm paraphrasing. I didn't think it would be like this. And he looks at her and goes, she's like, I just didn't think my life was supposed to turn out like this. That's what it was. My life was not supposed to turn out like this. And he looks at her and says, it's not supposed to turn out like anything. It just means that it's never over. It didn't become anything. It's still becoming forever. And I like that. That resonated. Weird Science aged badly. It didn't age at all. I get that there's an appropriateness in it, but again, I enjoy it for the era that it was in. I'm okay with people being warned before seeing them, but don't change it. Let them know what they're getting into and say, hey, this is like a museum. You're going back in time. We're not going to pretend that no one died in the Holocaust. They did. We're going to leave history as it stands, and our movies are a time and place. It's history. Leave it alone. Breakfast Club, definitely going to be a top five. That falls into the Hughes movies. But my favorites are reserved for things. What Dreams May Come is awesome. My favorites are those that are reserved for it made me feel something. It made me think something. It stuck with me. Goonies, can't say enough about it. But I really like movies that I just watch over and over again. Saving Private Ryan was a good movie. I appreciate that, Daniel. Thank you. I try to be. Not many classics being made nowadays. Yasu Teddy, Thessaloniki. Actually, I just got off the phone. My Thea from Thessaloniki just FaceTimed me to wish me Kronia Pola. I don't like remakes. I saw part of the new Footloose movie, which isn't so new now. I don't like remakes. Don't remake it. You want to put it back out into theaters, re-release it. You want to update it. Okay, I have no problem with Maverick. What's going on? Let's see what happened. I have no problem if they do another installment of the Goonies after the fact. That's fine. I don't mind because I like sequels, even if there's 20 years between them. But just don't remake it. Just don't. Every woman in my age, 50 years old. Thank you, Pretty Woman. Pretty Woman, I think is funny as hell. Pretty Women, I say, is a movie about a hooker with a heart. It's hilarious. It's like at some point you're watching the movie and you forget that she's not even a prostitute. She's not even a call girl. She's not even, like a high paid miss. She was a hooker on the streets and he pulled her over looking for directions and that's where they got. And I think it's hilarious. I love that movie. But it's funny how we like literally forget what she is. It's not a bad dude. She's paying her bills. Be safe. More power to you. But it's just funny that you couldn't do that today, I think. I've seen the alternative ending, or at least heard of it. Yes. Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I love them for the premise. The other thing about Pretty Woman is she does send her roommate some cash at one point, but I always wonder, does she ever like do anything to pull her roommate off the streets after, because she's going to get married. She got her happy ending. She got her knight on a white horse. I just think it's funny that like the people she knew in her old life, if she's like done with that now. The other funny thing is they say if you wanted to know how 2025 is going to go, look at whatever movie was number one on your 10th birthday. I think that's the one. And that's going to be it. And for me, it was American Gigolo, which I'd forgotten about. But it's funny that Richard Gere played a prostitute before he played the part in Pretty Woman, where he ends up with a prostitute. Thought it was pretty funny. She was leaving town. Hudson Hawk is a good one. Eddie Murphy, Beverly Hills Cop. Fun movies. Nothing wrong with a fun movie, but like I said, if it's going to be something that I think is amazing. Somebody said Sandlot. Sandlot both made me feel what it was like to grow up on my bike playing hot box or baseball with my friends, and at the same time amused me. So that was both. Kevin bringing up Richard Gere and his pet gerbil. How did we all know that? How? No internet to spread that rumor, and yet we all know about it. Sandlot was a 90s movie that felt like an 80s movie. Bob says we are also a different breed. Younger generations ask what's wrong with you. Well, the list is long and indistinguished. Let me know when you have some time. National Christmas Vacation on number one was on your 10th. So what's that say about your year? Check your outlets. Willow. Steel Magnolias. Heathers was an awesome movie. Good call. Daniel, thank you for the gifts. Appreciate it. Police Academy movies were fun. Return of the Living Dead, fun. The Rod Stewart rumor as well. Yep, I remember that one, Life. Fell down on stage, needed to go to a hospital, got his stomach pumped. Original Beetlejuice. The guy who wrote Beetlejuice, the sequel, is actually a mutual of mine over on Instagram. He's a good guy. He also helped co-create Smallville and wrote Wednesday. Who remembers Pump Up the Volume? I remember Pump Up the Volume. Christian Slater movie. John Hughes movies. John Hughes knew how to zero in on our teenage life. If you want to know, for a lot of us, for those of us that grew up in suburbia white America, let's put it that way. That for us, that was a John Hughes movie experience. Now, sometimes I will talk about John Hughes movies. I will show pictures from my yearbooks. I'll show videos that represent what it looked like for me to go to school. And I'll get called out. People will say, well, gee, apparently there were no black people living in the 80s, or there were no Cuban people living in the 80s, or there were no Puerto Rican or Mexican, or whatever their particular viewpoint is. And I just remind them, listen, I was the only Greek kid in my entire community. I can only show you what I had. And that's what John Hughes did. He goes, I grew up in suburban Chicago, suburban Illinois, and here's what it looked like for me. It didn't look like for everybody, but that's what it looked like for him. And that's kind of what I experienced too, for better or for worse. Life says we had 20 black kids in my high school. We had a few, but they're probably 2 to 3% only. It just wasn't as diverse in a small American town. And we're probably, and I think diversity can be a great thing. There's nothing wrong. I mean, it's wonderful. It is what it was, though. I can't go back and change it for the sake of a better picture. I'm not gonna put AAI in to change my yearbook pictures. I grew up in suburban Chicago, half a block outside of Chicago. So then you would know that. I mean, that's it. Mom, the Babysitter's Dead was good. But I always say what I loved about the 70s, what I love about when we grew up, was that even though we might have all had a different picture of what America looked like in our own towns, when we turned on the TV, 3 channels, limited amount of television, limited amount of programming, and yet what we had on was unbelievably, almost unintentionally diverse. Diverse wasn't even a buzzword back then. Diversity was not even a buzzword of any kind, and yet on television we had Good Times, we had What's Happening, we had The Jeffersons, we had Chico and the Man, we had Welcome Back, Kotter, where every kid in that class was from like a different group. And it wasn't because they were trying to check a box off somewhere. It was just, hey, let's make a story and we're going to make it in the Bronx, and this is who would be there. I love that. We're going to make a story about the projects and people struggling, and this is who would have been there. That's awesome for me. I love it when it's just organic like that. And we grew up like that. I grew up, Shannon, watching American Bandstand and then watching Soul Train. I thought it was cool. I absolutely wanted to understand what other races had for an experience and what their story was, without a doubt. Is Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion out already? If it is, I've not seen it yet, but I love the original, so I will look for it. I've got so many great followers from different backgrounds, and they're starting to share with me stuff that I never saw. I just never would have seen it given my particular place in America, and I love that. You guys send me some of the coolest stuff. I don't always get a chance to reply because I am vastly outnumbered at this point, but I see as much as I can. Got about 6 minutes, guys, and then I'm jumping back down to spend some family time. My guy, Welcome Back, Kotter was my favorite back then. Every Saturday is the best on TV. Night Court was awesome. TV was fun. I watch a lot of TV from that region right now. My youngest daughter's 13. From the early 90s, we're just getting through Wonder Years. We watch about 3 or 4 episodes a day right now. Number one, because it represents my early 20s, late teens in terms of when I watched it. And then number two, even though the TV show takes place when I was way too young to remember, but it's still indicative of what it looked like when we grew up. So I like her seeing kids on bikes, kids playing outside, no TV really. No video games really to speak of, no electronics, no tech. And she's loving it. It's her favorite show right now for us to watch together. It's all we watch together. We watch like 3 episodes of Wonder Years every night. I remember watching a lot of things Arena with our families. So you can go to my link tree, Timothy, which is, let's see, you're on TikTok. So you can go right to my bio on TikTok, hit the link tree. There should be a merch link, and this is available. And YouTube on my main page, same link tree. If anybody's interested about any of the shirts that I wear, this is one of my favorites though. This says what it's all about. As young as we've ever been, and as old as we're gonna get. If you don't like how Gen X does old, well, you're out of luck because this is it. This is it. Three's Company, a lot of fun. I appreciate that, Life. Yeah, like I said, she said, go on up, have some fun, share a little bit of your birthday with your friends up there, and then come back down. And I am about 4 minutes away from that. Guys, thank those gifting. I don't know if it's because of my birthday or what. Thank you so much. I really, really, really appreciate it. Am I having baklava tonight? Not for my birthday. My mom might make some before she leaves. I didn't realize it was Daniel Stern narrating Wonder Years back then. Obviously, I know it now. Without a doubt, Life. Truly without a doubt. Most of us never expected to get old. I didn't expect the world to get old. When I say that as a kid, and when I'm talking kid, I'm talking elementary school trauma. I expected nuclear war. It was a given. It was not an if, it was a when. It wasn't it wasn't if the world would suffer from nuclear missiles. It was how much of the world. I remember crying myself to sleep, worried about it. So yeah, no, I didn't expect to be here. I need to know if you've seen the Tupac TikTok and what you think. It looks like him. If what you're talking about is the AI, I've seen things like it. If not, then I'm not sure. 1999 was the last year. Not sure what that means. Duck and cover. Exactly. Exactly. Worried about quicksand. How old am I? I turned 55 today. Boom, boom. Thank you, Helen. Thank you for the birthday wishes. It wasn't nuclear war. It was the half dozen guys waiting to pummel me after school. Well, I got real good at talking my way out of trouble. I was very undersized. I was a tiny. Oh, you guys, if you look at the picture on Facebook and on Instagram, I have a series of pictures that will take you through from 1 to today. There's 20 pictures of me growing up that I put up there for my birthday, and you'll see I was tiny. So I learned my mouth got me out of a lot of things. Thank you, number one fan. Stacy, happy birthday in a month. Getting here to the double nickels with me. Or AIDS. AIDS was a thing without a doubt. Dude, that was scary. We thought it was coming everywhere. Like I remember being afraid of blood transfusions. I love my Greek Orthodox Church. I don't go nearly often enough. Father Steve ever gets on here, he'll know why I'm not there as much. Happy 55th in March, Wanda. All right, guys. Coming up at 98-pound weakling would have been exaggerating my strength. All right, guys. Those of you that follow regularly, I will be on live normally tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Wonderful World of Generation X. We do it every Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time on Facebook and on YouTube. And it's just basically kind of like this, but a little more structured where we talk about specific things relevant to Generation X. This week's topics, January 28th just left us, so we will absolutely be talking about Space Shuttle Challenger memories, what it felt like, where were we, how did we see it, and Trivia Crack, for those that play, will be up as a link tomorrow night after our live. That's it. Love you guys. Thank you so much again, those that gifted, those that are constantly sharing, subscribing, joining, all that good stuff. I will see those of you that watch the show Sunday night, Facebook and YouTube. Peace.